a pat on the back to say, MashaAllah, well done. No, it's a totally thankless task. And this is where Iman comes into it. Because the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, I want you as my ummah to engage in a thankless task where nobody's going to come and thank you, but وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. The dunya won't see what you're doing. The dunya doesn't see the good work that you do, but Allah sees everything. Allah Almighty is recording all of the good actions that you're doing. Allah alone will reward you for the good actions that you do. And this is why those people who do communal tasks and engage in developing civility amongst the people, they never ever come to you asking you for their own sake. They've always just carried out their tasks, they've always carried out their roles and functions for the good and the benefit of the people. And they await their rewards from Allah Ta'ala. And we got this as a lesson from our Shaykh, Huzur Za'alummat. We get this as a lesson from our Shaykh, Qibla, Shaykh Muhammad Imdad Hussain Pirzada Sahib here in England. You know, we get this as a lesson from them all of the time. You know, when one of our Shaykh, our Shaykh Huzur Za'alummat was selected in Pakistan to represent the Pakistani government. And he went and represented the government in Geneva here under human rights. And he won the human rights case against the Ahmadis, proving that they're technically not Muslims. And then he went back to Pakistan and it wasn't reported. Huzur Za'alummat rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, Shaykh Muhammad Karam Shah al-Azhari rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he had 1,000 students. 300 or 400 of them stood up in front of him and said, Irzab, we see what you've done is a wonderful thing, but we don't see any mention of you in the newspaper. You know, for what you've just achieved, shouldn't you have appeared in the newspapers and shouldn't we be singing your praises and saying our Peer has done this and that? And he told them all to shut up and be quiet. He said, do you want my name to be printed in a paper here that people hold high today and tomorrow will be throwing on the floor and it gets trampled on by the people? I don't want that. I want my name to be recorded in the Sahifa and in the papers of Allah Almighty. Because if my name is recorded with Him, then Allah Ta'ala will never allow my name to ever drop in the sight of people. You know, he lived a life where he said, Ya Allah, main bulaya na jaun. Ya Allah, I don't want to be forgotten. And these are the people who really are remembered. Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajha said there are lots of people who will live in this world as if though they will never die. And then they will die in this world as if though they had never ever lived. Unka naam o nishan mit jata hai is duniya se. Nobody will even remember them. But the good people who engage in communal work are those people who work hard through their life. And they keep engaged and they keep striving, they're involved in a thankless task, but they keep working hard and they work hard just so that Allah Ta'ala will reward them, and as a reward for them, Allah Ta'ala keeps their name alive in this world. And you know that same Shaykh Muhammad Karam Shah al-Azhari, who used to live saying, Ya Allah, main bulaya na jaun, I don't want to be forgotten after I die. You know, when he passed away, he had 1,000 students in Pakistan. After he passed away, his seminary has grown, and now there's over 60,000 students studying in Pakistan. And you know, even here in England, Jamia Al-Karam is an affiliate Darul Uloom of that same man. And so today, when we sit in front of our students, we say, "Hamari bhi ek sanad hai, hamare buzurgon mein se bhi ek buzurg hai." We still tell them, and we keep the memory of Huzur Za'alummat alive. And we teach our children that you will keep the memory of Huzur Za'alummat alive. You see, people will live on, but it takes a lot of effort. I'm asking you today, I've come here today asking you on the basis of civility. I'm asking you on the basis of community that you support us today in our appeal. Jamia Al-Karam is an institute where we are training imams for masajid. We have never claimed that we will prepare the great muftis or the great munazir. Na mufti tayar karne wale hain aur na munazirin tayar karne wale hain. But what we want to do is create enough imams to be able to serve every single mosque in the UK. And if you think ijtima'an, and again I'm asking you to think collectively for Muslims in the UK, if there are 800 Sunni masajid in the UK, you need 1,600 imams at minimum. And over the years to come, if you are not investing, and I know that it is extremely important for us to invest back in Pakistan, it is extremely important to invest in other countries, it is. We can't take away that importance because they also rely on it. However, the obligation that you have doesn't lie to people in Pakistan. The obligation you have is to your own children that are being taught right here in this masjid. The obligation that you have is towards your own grandchildren that will study here. In the next 50 years, think not 2024, think 2050 and 2054. If you don't find an imam, today, alhamdulillah, you're very, very fortunate. You have my more learned brother, very respectable, honorable Maulana Muhammad Chishti Sahib here. You go down the road, you have Maulana Irfan Chishti Sahib. You go into Aston under line, you have Maulana Ghulam Muhyiddin. You have all of these Aimma here. Each and every single one of these imams graduated from Jamia Al-Quran. And that's why they're here serving. That's why they're here talking to you in English. That's why they're here trying to educate your children in English. If you help us, it will ensure that we grow and go from strength to strength. If you support us, you will ensure that Jamia will continue to run for another year, 2 years, 3 years. And in doing so, this is a massive investment, a huge investment. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Kun aliman, aw muta'alliman, aw sami'an, aw muhibban, wa la takun al-khamis fatahlu." The Prophet alayhi salatu wa sallam said, either you should become a scholar. And if you can't become a scholar, then become a student. And if you can't become a student, then be one who listens to the scholars and students. And if you can't be one who listens to the scholars and students, at least be one who loves them and helps them and supports them. But don't be the fifth, the one who is disconnected from all of them, or you would be destroyed. So if you want to save your future, if you want to save, and you know, this is what Deen is all about. You know, our Sheikh Muhammad Imdad Hussain Pinjabi Sahib, he always narrates this to us as a teacher. He always says, you have to be a forward-looking nation. You know, when we joined Qibla Pradasa, I joined, none of us will remember, I joined at 13, 14 years old when I first went to Qibla Pradasa. No beard on my face. I was a kid, and I spent a lifetime. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it is that you look towards the future and see what it is that you as an individual can do. Qibla Pradasa always cites us this story, all of the time. Over the years, every single year, Qibla Pradasa repeats the same story. The story of the man planting the date palm tree. An old man planting a date palm tree. And somebody passed this old man, and he says, "Buzurg, ye aap kya kar rahe hain? Aap khajur ka darakht laga rahe hain? You're planting a date palm tree. कोई ऐसा आप दरख्त लगाएं जो एक साल में जिसके पौधे तैयार हो जाएं. You plant something that will give you fruit in a year or 2 years. You're planting a date palm tree. A date palm tree takes 25 years or 20 odd years for it to grow and become strong and then bear fruit. In 25 years, probably in 5 years, you'll be a dead man. Why you planting date palm trees? And that Buzurg said, look, oh my child, I am planting this date palm tree because I have spent a lifetime eating dates. And I can't help but think that somebody before me had planted a date palm tree from which I am eating. And I want to do something for those that are coming after me, so I'm planting a date palm tree now, so that in 25 years' time, people will see that tree, and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, they can eat from it. You know, it's a forward-thinking mentality. And this is what we're asking you. Have a forward-thinking mentality. Jami Al-Quran has, as a seminary, has been serving the UK since 1985, and at the head of it is a visionary who in 1985, when he was called here to England, he said to the people, मैं अपने आप को खुद नहीं समझता इस माहौल के लिए. I don't think that I fit this environment because I speak in Urdu. He said, I speak in Punjabi. I have a Pakistani mentality. Back in 1985, he said, I want to take some young men from this country. When I speak, Rasul often says, when I speak to the young men here who go to schools, they come back to me and say, आप इस स्कूल से नहीं गुजरे, आपको वो मुश्किलात का सामना नहीं करना पड़ता जो हम सामना कर रहे हैं. ये जो फितने हम देख रहे हैं वो आप नहीं देखते. The children here will say that the sort of sins and crimes and things that go on in our schools, you haven't seen. You, Pizza haven't experienced all of these. And Qibla said, for this reason, I wanted to grab a bunch of students out of schools and I wanted to turn them into scholars. And I wanted so that when they stood on the minbar and they would say to the people, oh people, don't go towards sin, those kids from schools won't be able to say, you haven't experienced what we experienced because they came out of your same school. They did experience. And you know, out of those bunch, that Qibla grabbed and he grabbed us by the scruff of the neck and he put us onto the right way. Out of those is Maulana Muhammad Zahir Chishti Sahib. You know, years ago, back in the 1990s, he set out on a path. And that's why today he's here in front of you, teaching to you. This is why he's calling you towards goodness and faith. And if he didn't do this in 1990, then today you wouldn't have Imam Maulana Muhammad Zahir Chishti Sahib here. You know, you have to think forward. And you know, this forward thinking, it comes from investment. You're in the best of months, O people. You're in the best of times, O people. You are in the best of minutes and moments, O people. Allah Ta'ala said, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ. When you give £1, Allah Ta'ala says in the verse of the Quran, the likeness of a person who gives nafaqah, the likeness of the person who gives in the way of Allah Ta'ala is like a person who gave a single seed, just one seed. You've only given £1. You've only given £1. And then Allah Ta'ala will take that pound. أَنْبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلَ. That one seed will have a plant sprout from it. And it will have 7 sleeves. And in every sleeve, out of those 7 sleeves, every sleeve will have 100 seeds. So that means, it's like saying when you donate £1, Allah Ta'ala increases your donation to 700 pounds. Wallahu yudha'ifu liman yasha. Allah increases for whoever He pleases. Wallahu wasi'un alim. And Allah Ta'ala is incredibly generous. Allah Ta'ala is all aware of everything that you do, every £1 that you could give. So I'm asking you today, O people, that in this most beautiful month, in these most beautiful minutes of Jum'ah, in this most beautiful time of Ramadan, where your rewards are being multiplied anyway, please don't walk out today without making a small donation. Please don't walk out today without investing into your futures. We're not asking you to make an investment for which you will see the fruits of in future. We're asking you to invest into something whose fruits you are currently enjoying. I myself, I'm not worthy, but I myself I'm also a part of this system. I'm a part of this system. I know my life has been transformed and changed. Because back in the 90s, I dropped Jamia al-Quran. I wasn't wholly aware of my religion. I never understood what the Quran exactly meant. But because of this, it gave me the opportunity. And ever since that day, I've had nothing else in my life. All I want to, everywhere I go, I want to say to the people, you know, the opportunity I had, give it to others. Give somebody else this chance so that they can see what the Quran is. I want to give somebody else the chance so that they can relate to the aqwal and the ahadith of your beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that they can appreciate exactly what the Prophet ﷺ was doing and what he was trying for you as an ummah. And it only comes back to, this is something that will never ever be understood by people who think about Zatiyah. This will never be understood by anybody who's concerned primarily with themselves. Anyone who's living a life of status quo, you'll never ever understand this. But people who understand civility and civilization, anybody who understands the need to develop, and development only comes through education. If you look at, third world countries, and one of the reasons why third world countries don't develop, either don't develop at all or don't develop fast enough, it's because they have a lack of education. And really what you need right now, today, in this day and age, is education. And right now, in the times that you're facing, that your children will face, and that your grandchildren will face, they don't need just education, they need Islamic education, taught to them by people who have grown up in this country, who understand the context, who understand the environment, who understand what is legally correct and proper, who understand what is unacceptable and what is unspeakable in this country. You need ai-imma who are going to say this, because we need to protect and preserve that Islam within us. And that Islam is only preserved when you have ulum, when you have students. May Allah Ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq to make a donation on your way out. Inshallah, we have a card system as well, and you can leave cash payments as well. But please do get involved. It's a big, big investment in your life. Jazakumullah.
वाजिब इहतराम जामिया अल-करम के सीनियर असातिज़ा में से अल्लामा हाफिज़ मोहम्मद साहब दामद बरकात अल-अज़हरी, जो गालिबन पिछले 20-25 साल से एक कुर्सी पर बैठकर इस कौम और इस धरती के नौजवानों को दीन सिखा रहे हैं. The grace of Allah Ta'ala, as I mentioned last Friday, more than 450 young men and women have been nurtured in Jamia al-Quran and turned into ulama and scholars. And this is a great initiative to take part in this virtuous, continuous chain of rewards. ये ऐसा सबका जारिया है कि अल्लाह ताला के फजल से हर दौर में, हर ज़माने में. मुझे याद है बहुत अर्सा पहले, many years ago, हुज़ूर किबला मुफस्सिर कुरान किबला पिज़ा साहब ने इरशाद फरमाया था कि मेरा जी चाहता है कि जामिया अल-करम की शाख हो हर एक शहर में. I wish that there be an institute of Jamia al-Quran and affiliate in every town, in every city. वो बात ना हो सकी, but what he surely has done, कि गालिबन हर शहर में, हर इलाके में जामिया अल-करम का एक आलिम दीन मुहैया फरमा दिया, एक आलिम दीन पेश कर दिया, कारी कुरान पेश कर दिया. इस मस्जिद में 3 हजरात हैं जो जामिया अल-करम के फारिग तहसील हैं, जामिया आज़म के फारिग तहसील हैं. मौलाना अल्लामा कारी मोहम्मद ज़िया साहब अल-अज़हरी दामद बरकात अल-अज़हरी, और मोमिन साहब मैं खातिमान के सामने खड़ा हूँ. तो आप बराबर वाली दिल खोल कर ताउन फरमाएं. प्लीज डू गिव generously towards Jamia al-Quran, or bilkhusous on Sunday from 1 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. This Sunday coming, there is a international live telethon on the Green TV for Jana al-Karam live appeal. It takes place every year. And we don't just have people donating from the United Kingdom, it's Europe, it's the States, it's far Asia, पूरी दुनिया से लोग देते हैं और लाखों यहाँ पर जमा होता है और इसी से इस बच्चों को तैयार किया जाता है कि जो रियाद भी दी जाती हैं अल्लाह तबारक तआला की बारगाह में दुआ है तो जो अहबाब आज कुछ नहीं पेश कर सके वो टेलीविजन पर ही पेश करेंगे इंशाअल्लाह हम वहाँ मौजूद होंगे लाइव टेलीफोन संडे 1 बजे से लेकर दूसरे दिन 2 बजे सुबह तक इंशाअल्लाह ये कुछ चंद ऐलानात है समाज फरमा लें गुज़श्ता जुम्मत मुबारक के मौका पर 1010 पॉइंट पेश किए अल्लाह की बारगाह में मकबूल फरमाए ये पेशाब और से 15